Hello again and welcome back. This is lesson 3 in our basic course on the Supply Chain Operations Reference Model or SCOR. Now, in this lesson, I am going to provide you an overview of the model itself so that you get a snapshot of what it is. In subsequent lessons, I'll be diving into greater depth, not only discussing each of the components in detail, but I will also discuss some pointers into how you can apply it in your work. Now, in lesson 1, I mentioned that the supply chain operations reference model is like a well-orchestrated symphony for supply chains. Now, imagine it as a comprehensive map that guides organizations through the intricate dance of planning, sourcing, making, delivering, and handling returns. We also learned the backstory that the SCOR model was born in 1996 thanks to the efforts of the Supply Chain Council. Their mission? To create a common language and framework for supply chain processes. Before SCOR, it was everyone speaking their own dialects. Each company had its unique terms, phrases, and metrics to describe logistics and supply chain activities. Conversations with channel partners were often like deciphering ancient scrolls. Now, the SCC rode in on a noble white steed. Well, okay, maybe not a steed, but you get the idea. And they formed a non-profit organization. What's their quest? To establish a shared nomenclature in the form of common process components and consistent metrics. They wanted organizations to collaborate more effectively, like a well-rehearsed ensemble. Fast forward to today, the Supply Chain Council merged with apics, which is the American Production and Inventory Control Society, and this was done in 2014. Now, they're called the APIC Supply Chain Council. And together, they wield the mighty SCOR model, which has become the gold standard for supply chain excellence. Let me just share with you some SCOR reference sources that you can go to. For your information, APICS provides SCOR practitioners with free reference sources to assist in learning and application. The SCOR model is the reference that contains the full detail of the SCOR reference framework as well as the body of knowledge. It is available online as a PDF and is a paper-bound book that is distributed as part of the SCOR professional training. It can be purchased separately. Now, the model provides practitioners with the complete framework in 5 sections. Firstly, there is performance, processes, practices, people, and special applications. It includes detail on the various levels and cross-references needed to construct a SCOR improvement program. Now, the SCOR Quick Reference Guide, which is available online, provides practitioners with a digital version of an easy-to-use document containing a summary of the detail found in the model. This guide provides users with the ability to easily locate level 1, 2, and 3 processes, as well as metrics, for quick reference without consulting the full SCOR model framework. Then there is the SCOR mobile device application, which provides practitioners with high-level SCOR content directly on a mobile device for quick and easy reference, plus much more. Now, the SCOR app is a greatly expanded version of the quick reference and easily accessible on your mobile device. It's a free download available through the App Store and Google Play. Search for apics-supply. It's a powerful search option included by term, so you can search for anything in SCOR and find it with a single touch. Now, let's take a look at the SCOR model framework. The SCOR model is divided into 5 sections: performance, process, practices, people, and a special application section. The performance section contains the standard metrics to describe the process performance and define strategic goals. The process section contains the standard descriptions of management processes and their process relationships. The 6 major processes defined in SCOR are plan, source, make, deliver, return, and enable. The practices section contains management practice that produce significantly better process performance. And the 3 major practices sections are emerging, leading, and best practices. Then you have the people section. Now, this section contains the standard definitions for skills that are required to perform supply chain processes. Special applications is a standalone portion, also called sustainable SCOR. And while not being interrelated to the 4 major sections, it consists of a proposed global reporting initiative, environmental metrics with categories, including materials used, percent recycled input materials, percent reclaimed input materials, and energy consumed. Now, a unique feature about SCOR that sets it apart from most other supply chain improvement frameworks is that it is not just a detailed list of processes, metrics, and practices and people skills, but how it combines all the 4 and adds predefined relationships between processes. In terms of material information and workflows, these predefined relationships are the result of the research and collaborative definition that all participants in SCOR development have contributed. Now, I want you to picture this. An organization producing a finished product stands at the center of the SCOR universe. Now, around them, like celestial bodies, orbit several ovals representing different supply chain components. These ovals symbolize planning, sourcing, making, delivering, and even the cosmic dance of returns. But wait, there's more. Now, behind each of these ovals lies a treasure trove of knowledge, including hundreds of pages of documentation. Think of it as the secret scrolls of supply chain wisdom. Best practice, precise nomenclature, and metrics. Everything you need to navigate the supply chain galaxy. This visual illustrates the classic view of the 6 core processes in supply chain management. A supply chain is defined as the integrated processes of plan, source, make, deliver, return, and enable. And it spans from the supplier's supplier to the customer's customer. The supply chain is composed of your company at the center and tiers of suppliers and customers extending in either direction. To the immediate right of the company are first your customers that can be either internal or external. To the left are first tier suppliers that again can be either internal or external. Now, the model also displays a second tier illustrating suppliers, and customers. In actuality, the SCOR framework represents more than one external tier, but only two are shown. The model spans all customer processes, which includes all material transactions and all market interactions. However, the SCOR process supply chain model does not attempt to describe every business processes or activity. For example, it does not address sales and marketing, demand generation. It does not address product development, research and development, and some elements of post-delivery customer support. Now, the descriptions of supply chains using the 6 core processes as building blocks enable a description of supply chains that are very simple or very complex using a common set of definitions. And here's the twist. The SCOR model adapts to different industries. It's like having tailored spacesuits for astronauts exploring various planets. The process definitions vary based on industry-specific operating model. So whether you're launching rockets or baking cookies, SCOR's got your back. Okay, let's discuss the model a little bit and discuss SCOR processes. There are 6 level 1 SCOR processes, which by now you should already commit to memory: plan, source, make, deliver, return, and enable. Plan processes describe the activities associated with developing plans to operate the supply chain. It includes the gathering of requirements, identifying available resources, balancing the requirements and resources to determine plan capabilities, as well as gaps and capabilities, and specifying actions to correct those gaps. Source: these are processes describing the activities involved in scheduling product deliveries, in receiving products, in verifying products, in transferring or moving products, and authorizing supply payments. Make are processes describing the activities associated with the conversion of raw materials or creation of content for services. It includes adding value to products through assembly, mixing, separating, forming, machining, and even chemical processes. Deliver processes describe the activities associated with the creation, maintenance, and fulfillment of customer orders. Detailed activities encompass the receipt, the validation and creation of the customer order, as well as scheduling order delivery, pick, pack, shipment, and invoicing. Return processes describe the activities associated with the reverse flow of goods. Now, these activities encompass identification of returns, disposition, decision making, scheduling of the return and shipment, as well as receipt of the returned goods. Enable processes describe the management of the supply chain. They include management of business rules, performance management, data management, resource management, facilities management, contract management, supply chain network management, and regulatory compliance management, as well as, most importantly, risk management. SCOR processes are defined in a set of hierarchies. There are 4 levels, and these are depicted here in the diagram. The process definitions I described just now are referred to as SCOR Level 1 processes. What are they? They define the scope, content, and performance targets of the supply chain. At level 2, you have process categories. These are subsets of level 1 processes that defines those processes at the greater detail. They define the operation strategy and the process capabilities. Now, what do we mean by operation strategy? The SCOR model breaks them down into make to stock, make to order, or engineer to order. Now, you can appreciate the fact that make to stock processes are different in characteristics from make to order processes, and so on. Okay, back to the hierarchy. Level 3 describes the various process elements. They define the configuration of the individual processes. These are the individual activities that take place and they are presented in sequential order. So here, the ability to execute is set. For each activity, the required inputs and outputs that for that activity is set. The skills are defined and the performance measures as well as best practices are defined. You can think of it as being the heart of SCOR. Practitioners refer to this more than any other sections of the model in designing their processes. Now, the last level is level 4 that describes the improvement tools or activities. For example, the use of Kaizen, the use of Six Sigma, and benchmarking. It is important, though, to note that this model describes processes and not functions. In other words, the model focuses on the activity involved, not the person or organizational element that performs the activity. For most newcomers to SCOR, this represents a huge paradigm shift for them. Since prior to SCOR, they are used to view processes according to functional silos. For example, product or raw material receipt is usually seen as a warehousing function, whereas in SCOR, it is categorized as a sourcing process, and rightly so. So we will stop there for this lesson so that you don't get bombed with an overload of information. Remember, supply chain management isn't just about moving boxes. It's about orchestrating cosmic harmonies. So next time you sip your morning coffee, think of the intricate supply chain that brought those beans to your cup. Till we see each other again in lesson 3, take care.